Hello there, friend. If you're over 60, I want to invite you to do something simple but powerful. Take a moment, just for you. Pour yourself a warm cup of coffee, or maybe that special tea you save for quiet mornings. Sit back, relax, and let this be our time together. Because today, we're going to talk about something that might touch a part of your heart you haven't visited in a long time. Have you ever felt it? That invisible moment when everything changes. You spend a lifetime giving, raising your kids, supporting their dreams, putting them before yourself. You give your energy, your time, your love, and yes, your money. You say yes more times than you can count. You sacrifice vacations, comforts, sometimes even your health, because that's what parents do. But then one day, it stops. Maybe you retire. Maybe your savings run low. Maybe you finally say, I can't this time. And suddenly, so quietly it almost slips past you. The warmth in your children's voices begins to fade. The visits grow less frequent. The phone calls shorter. The hugs more distant. It's like a door you never saw was open. Quietly closes. And you sit there wondering, was it love they gave me? Or loyalty, bought by generosity? It's a painful question. One you'd rather not ask, because the answer might be heavier than your heart is ready to carry. But here's the truth, the one most people won't say out loud. The day you lose your money might be the day your children change. And if you've felt that shift, even just a little, you're not alone. It happens to more seniors than you think. Good parents, loving parents, people who gave everything. Today I want to take you on a journey through stories that will stir something deep inside you. Stories not just of pain, but of awakening. Because sometimes it's only after we lose everything that we discover who we really are. And let me tell you this, the end of giving does not have to be the end of being valued. You still matter. Your presence, your wisdom, your soul. Those things don't fade when the bank account runs low. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just hear stories. You might see your own reflection in them. And you might also find something far more important, a way to reclaim your strength, your independence, and your peace. And before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Has there ever been a moment in your life when you felt that shift, when love started to feel conditional? Let me know in the comments. Just write this one sentence if it resonates with you. The day I gave everything, something changed. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. This space is for you, for your thoughts, your voice, your story. Now take another sip of that coffee, and let's begin this journey together. Story 1. The father who gave everything and was forgotten. Walter was never the kind of man to sit still. Even at 74, he woke up at 5 a.m. every morning, just like he did in the Navy. His hands were rough with time, his back slightly hunched, but there was still a sharp glint in his eyes. The kind of light that only comes from a life of purpose. He had spent over 4 decades as a carpenter, not just building houses, but building a home for the people he loved most. He never bought himself a new car, never flew first class. He didn't care for luxuries. What mattered to him was simple, giving his children a better life. So he paid their college tuition, helped with their down payments, supported them through every stumble. He was there, always, quiet, dependable, invisible in his sacrifice. Walter used to say, everything I've ever earned, I've earned for them. And when he said it, he meant every single word. But here's the part no one tells you about giving everything. Sometimes when the giving stops, the silence begins. At first it was subtle. The weekly Sunday dinners turned into phone calls. The phone calls turned into voicemails. The visits, only on holidays, Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas. And even then, short, rushed, distracted. No one ever said it out loud, but Walter felt it. Like a breeze slowly turning cold, he began to notice how quickly the warmth left the room when he was no longer the one paying the bills. He used to be the hero. Now he was an afterthought. There was one moment, a quiet one, that stayed with him. It was Super Bowl Sunday, a family tradition for years. Chips, chili, grandkids yelling at the TV. But that year, no one called. No invite. No knock at the door. Just him, a cold sandwich, and the echo of a game he used to watch, surrounded by laughter. He stared at the empty chair across from him and whispered to no one, "I guess I'm not needed anymore." It wasn't the game he missed. It was the feeling of being seen, of being valued. He had given his whole life, his whole heart, and when there was nothing left to give, it felt like his role in their lives quietly expired, like an old card that no longer works when you swipe it. And that pain, let me tell you, it doesn't scream. It doesn't hit you like a car crash. It creeps in like fog. It softens the edges of the days. It makes everything quieter, emptier. That's what no one tells you about aging. Sometimes the hardest part isn't your knees hurting or your memory slipping. Sometimes it's feeling like you've become invisible. Walter never complained. That wasn't his way. But one day his granddaughter found an old photo of him in uniform, smiling in front of a battleship. She looked at him and said, "Grandpa, you used to be so important." He smiled back, a soft, aching smile, and replied, "I still am. Just not to everyone." If you've ever felt like Walter, if you've ever been the provider, the protector, and then slowly, the forgotten, please know you're not alone. You are not invisible, not here, and we're just getting started. Because next I'll tell you the story of a mother, a kind, generous soul, who gave away her home for the ones she loved, only to be pushed out when she needed love the most. Her story may surprise you, or it might feel all too familiar. Let's keep going. Story 2. The mother who gave her home and lost her freedom, and when love becomes a transaction. Her name was Margaret, 70 years old, soft-spoken, the kind of woman who always had a pie in the oven and a spare blanket ready for anyone who walked through the door. She had lived in the same house for over 40 years, the house where she raised her children, where birthdays were celebrated with laughter in the kitchen, where Christmas trees leaned under the weight of too many ornaments and too much love. That house was more than bricks and wood. It was memory. It was identity. It was hers. But when her son David came to her with worry in his eyes and 2 toddlers at his side, she didn't hesitate. His growing family needed more space. They'd outgrown their apartment. They wanted a better school district, a backyard, all the things she once wanted for him. "We'll take care of you, Mom," he said. "You can live with us. We'll be together." Isn't that what family is all about? It sounded like a dream. And so, Margaret did what so many mothers do. She said yes. She sold the house, gave the money to her son, and moved into the guest room of his brand new home. At first it was warm. Her grandkids adored her. She loved being part of their daily lives. Mornings were filled with cereal and cartoons, evenings with bedtime stories. She felt useful, wanted, but slowly, the tone shifted. What once felt like family began to feel like a job. Her daughter-in-law began handing her schedules, pickup time, snack plans, nap routines. "You're home all day anyway," she said, "and the kids really need consistency." Margaret smiled and nodded, but something inside her quietly bent. She wasn't asked. She was expected. Soon she was cooking all the meals, doing all the laundry, cleaning messes she didn't make. "You're retired," they said. "You don't have anything else going on." And one day, after weeks of back pain and sleepless nights, she handed her son a doctor's note. The physician had recommended rest. "You need to slow down," he had warned. Her hands trembled as she passed it to him, thinking maybe this would bring understanding, a little compassion. But instead he sighed, looked her in the eyes, and said words she never thought she'd hear. "If you can't watch the kids, maybe you shouldn't live here." It was like a window shattering in her chest. Margaret had given everything. Her home, her savings, her time, her body. And now even her place under their roof came with terms and conditions. The woman who once cradled her children to sleep was now seen as inconvenient. And just like that, what started as an act of love became a silent eviction of her soul. She packed quietly, no arguments, no begging, just tears that wouldn't stop as she left the house she helped build, again, for the second time in her life. Only this time, there would be no return. And as she sat in her 1-bedroom rental, living off a modest pension, she looked out the window and whispered, I gave them everything, and somehow I lost myself. Now, if Margaret's story hurt to hear, what comes next might sting even more. Because this next story, it's not about a moment of betrayal, it's about a pattern, a routine, a quiet erosion of love that happens when relationships turn into transactions and family becomes finance. Let me tell you about Charles, a retired accountant with an impeccable memory and a heart far too generous for his own good. He noticed something odd in his later years. His phone only rang when someone needed something: a loan, a signature, help with the IRS. Never just to say, "Hi, Dad, how are you feeling?" No, every call had a price tag hidden inside it. At first, he didn't mind. Helping gave him purpose. He was still needed, still relevant. But then it became predictable. His children stopped visiting. Holidays were skipped. Birthdays forgotten, unless a check was involved. One evening, as he sat alone with an untouched turkey on Thanksgiving, he said aloud to himself, "This isn't love. This is a transaction." And he was right. Because when you give without boundaries, without teaching gratitude, you don't inspire love. You build expectation. And expectation without appreciation, that's the breeding ground for entitlement. Charles had turned himself into an ATM with a heart, and when the withdrawals ran dry, so did the connections. Now tell me, have you ever felt that? That shift from being someone cherished to someone used? That ache when you realize your love is measured in dollars, not memories? If so, don't go anywhere. Because what's coming next isn't just another sad story. It's a turning point. It's about a man who changed everything, who said no, reclaimed his life, and found a kind of freedom he never knew he needed. His story might just inspire you to do the same. So take a breath. Stay with me. We're not done yet. Some wounds don't bleed. They don't bruise. They don't scream for help. They just sit quietly inside the soul, waiting to be acknowledged. And that's exactly the kind of pain Helen lived with. She was 72, elegant in a quiet way, the kind of woman who still ironed her napkins and wore perfume to the grocery store. Her life had always been about others: her husband, her children, her church, her neighbors. She never needed much, just peace, and maybe a little kindness. After her husband passed, she moved in with her daughter's family. It seemed like the right thing. She wanted to help, and she did every day. She folded laundry, picked up the kids from school, cooked dinner, swept the kitchen, listened to teenage complaints, stayed up late to clean dishes no one noticed were dirty. And she did it with a smile, always with a smile, because in her heart she believed, as long as they're happy, I'm okay. But something strange began to happen. The more she did, the less she was seen. Her voice became background noise, her needs an afterthought. When she was sick, no one noticed. When she wanted a day to rest, it was treated as a burden. She swallowed it all. Her hurt, her disappointment, her quiet hope that someone, just one person, would ask her, "Are you okay, Mom?" But they didn't. Because when you say nothing, people assume you feel nothing. And when you give without limits, they forget you're even giving. Helen wasn't unappreciated because she was unloved. She was unappreciated because she never said, "I matter too." That's the hidden danger of silence. It doesn't preserve peace. It erases your presence. And so she faded. Not physically, but emotionally. Like a candle that still burns, but no longer gives light. Until one day she whispered to her reflection, "I don't even recognize my life anymore." Now that story might feel soft, but the next one, it lands like a slap. Because what happens when the people who once raised children with strength and courage are treated like children themselves? Dorothy was 70, sharp as a tack, witty, and fiercely independent. She had lived alone for decades, paid her own bills, managed her own health, and even traveled once a year to the desert during Coachella. Not for the music, but because she loved the energy, the colors, the stories. Life was her canvas, until she fell one morning and broke her hip. Just like that, everything changed. Her children insisted she move in for her own good. At first, she appreciated the gesture, but soon it was like a switch flipped. Suddenly, she was told when to eat, when to sleep, what to wear. She wasn't allowed to drive, despite being cleared by her doctor. Her son took away her credit card just in case. And her daughter? She spoke to her like a child. "You've had a long life, Mom. Just relax now. We'll take care of everything." Dorothy wanted to scream, "I'm 70, not 7. But instead, she stayed quiet. Until one day she packed a small suitcase and moved back to her condo. Slowly, carefully, on her own. Because there is something sacred about being the author of your own life. And no matter how old you get, losing that pen is a violation of your soul. And maybe that's where change begins. Because our final story today isn't about loss. It's about choice, about power, about the moment a parent decides that love doesn't mean saying yes forever. This story is about Richard. Richard had always been the rock of his family, accountant by trade, father by devotion. When his son's startup began failing, Richard stepped in. Twice. Loans, support, advice, then again and again. Until one day he looked at his dwindling savings, his tired wife, and the fear in his own eyes. And he said no, not out of anger, not out of resentment, but out of love for himself, for his future, for his family's need to grow without leaning forever. That no changed everything. His son was furious at first, stopped calling. Weeks of silence followed. But then something shifted. The son applied for jobs, picked up side work, started rebuilding. And one morning, unprompted, he called and said, "Dad, thank you. You saying no was the best thing you ever did for me." That moment, that was healing. That was power. That was freedom. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is not give more. It's teach more, inspire more, hold the line so that others learn to stand on their own. And now, if any part of these stories touched you, if they reminded you of someone you love or someone you used to be, please share this video with someone who needs it. You never know whose quiet pain might be softened by hearing a truth they've been too afraid to speak. Because in a world where money may fade, respect can remain. But only if we fight for it. And don't go anywhere. Because in the next part of our journey, we'll dig deeper into why these things happen and how you can protect your heart, your finances, and your freedom before it's too late. So why does it happen? Why do so many aging parents, kind, wise, and full of love, give everything they have only to be left feeling empty? The answer isn't weakness. It's not naivety. It's love, or at least the kind of love that was taught to many generations. Love that pours out without pause, without boundaries, without ever asking for anything in return. Because being needed feels like being loved. Because silence in a home often feels colder than self-sacrifice. So we give and give and give, hoping it will be enough to keep the connection strong, to keep the phone ringing, to keep the chairs around the holiday table full. But here's the truth most people won't dare speak. When love becomes performance, when giving becomes the only language of value, something inside quietly unravels. If we raise our children by giving them everything, we may unintentionally raise adults who expect everything. And expectation, when not tempered by gratitude, turns into entitlement. And that's when we begin to fade. You see, you were never meant to be a wallet. You were never meant to be a live-in caretaker during the years you were supposed to rest. You are not a servant to the very people you once fed with your own hands. You are a soul, a presence. And you deserve to be seen, to be valued, to be respected, not because of what you give, but because of who you are. No balance in your bank account should define your place in your family. And this moment, this conversation between us, is your chance to reclaim that truth. To say, I can be generous without being used. I can love without being forgotten. If anything I've said so far speaks to something deep inside you, take a moment and share this video with someone who might need it. A friend, a sibling, someone you know who has spent their life giving, and maybe, just maybe, needs to hear that it's okay to take something back. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can tap like, subscribe, or even leave a small super thanks to help these stories reach more people like you. And before we move on, I'd love to hear your voice in the comments. Just one sentence. Real, simple, powerful. I choose to give without losing myself. Say it for yourself. Say it so others can feel less alone. And now, we're not done yet, because knowing why these patterns happen is only the beginning. In the next part of our journey, I'll show you how to protect what matters most: your heart, your finances, your future. So stay with me. The best part is still coming. So now that we've opened our eyes, what can we actually do? Because awareness alone isn't enough. Healing doesn't come just from knowing, it comes from doing. And if you've felt even a hint of what these stories hold, then it's time to take your life back. Gently, intentionally, but fully. Start by protecting your financial independence. Keep something sacred for yourself. No matter how much you love them, you don't need to give away your last safety net to prove your devotion. Love that costs you your security is not love. It's sacrifice without balance. And then, draw your boundaries like quiet fences around your peace. You are not here to earn anyone's approval by saying yes to every request. You've earned your rest. You've earned your space. Say yes when it feels good in your soul, not just when guilt knocks on the door. After 60, your purpose doesn't have to end. It can simply evolve. Explore something new, something that lights you up. Maybe you'll take up painting. Maybe you'll join a local storytelling circle, or even start a YouTube channel of your own, sharing everything you've lived and learned. Your wisdom is wealth. Your presence is power. You are not done. You are entering your richest chapter. And above all, protect your spirit from being chained to the need for constant gratitude. True generosity doesn't beg to be noticed, and true love doesn't keep score. So give, but give as a sovereign soul, not a shadow waiting to be seen. And if you've made it this far in the journey, I want to ask one simple favor. Share this video with someone you care about, someone who needs this truth like water in the desert. This message isn't just for you, it's for the millions who are quietly losing themselves while trying to hold their families together. And if you feel like this video helped you in any way, let it help someone else too. Let this be your ripple. Let this be your beginning. Because in the end, the day you protect your power might just be the day you begin to feel whole again. Maybe you've been through it. Maybe you're going through it right now. That quiet ache of feeling forgotten. That invisible shift when the warmth in your children's voices begins to cool. When the love you thought was unconditional starts to feel like it came with a receipt. But if this journey has shown us anything, it's this. You are not powerless. You are not invisible. And you are not alone. The day you lose your money should never be the day you lose your dignity. The moment you stop giving should not be the moment people stop calling. You are worth more than your retirement savings. You are worth more than what you can offer. You are not a support system. You are a soul with stories, with wisdom, with fire still left in you. And if no one has told you this lately, let me be the one to say it loud and clear. You matter. You belong. You still have so much to give, but only to those who truly deserve it. If today's video gave you even one moment of clarity, one spark of truth, one deep breath of peace, then I hope you carry it with you. Let it guide how you protect your future, how you set your boundaries, how you honor the incredible life you've built. Because life after 60 isn't the end. It's the invitation to rewrite your rules on your terms. And I want to hear from you. What's one thing you can do today to protect your heart, your freedom, or your future? Share it with me in the comments, even just one sentence. If you're not sure what to write, start with this. After 60, I choose to protect what truly matters. Let that be your anchor. Let that be your voice in this growing community of strong, thoughtful, independent souls just like you. And if this video touched you or reminded you of someone who needs to hear it, please share it. Send it to a friend, a sibling, a parent, a neighbor. And if you'd like to support more messages like this, consider hitting the like button, subscribing, or if you feel moved, leaving a super thanks. It helps us keep creating meaningful content, and it helps this message reach others who need it most. In our next video, we're going to dive even deeper into how to build emotional independence, how to break the cycle of giving too much, and how to reclaim your personal power in relationships after 60. If that sounds like something you need, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And let me ask you, what topic do you want us to explore next? What question is still lingering in your heart? Drop it in the comments below. This space is for you, and your voice helps shape it. Remember this, above all else, You are worthy of love that doesn't fade, of respect that doesn't vanish, and of a life that still feels full, even if the people around you forget to say thank you. You deserve happiness. You deserve peace. You deserve a life that's not just long, but truly yours. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And until next time, take care of your heart, protect your power, and I'll see you soon.